My stepmom was my dad's affair partner, and her daughters are my half-sisters. When I, 22M, was 4, my dad divorced my mom. About a year later, he introduced me to my stepmom. She had 2 twin girls, Nicole and Demi. They married only a few months later and went on to have 3 more kids, George, Liam, and Sarah for F. My father adopted Nicole and Demi because their biological father was not involved. I've always considered all 5 of them my siblings, and we've never used step or half to refer to each other. When I was 6, shortly after George's birth, my mom passed away in a car accident, and because of it, I started to live with my dad full-time. My relationship with my stepmom improved from there. She never adopted me, but she, along with my dad, kept my mom's memory alive by staying in touch with my maternal grandparents and other relatives and visiting her grave with me on special days. I started calling her mom when I was around 7 or 8, and she refers to me as her eldest child. Even though Nicole, Demi, and I are the same age, I was born first. After I turned 18, I started to work but continued to live with my parents. Last week, I was in the attic when I found a photo album that I had never seen before. I opened it and saw several pictures of my dad, my stepmother, and the twins when they were babies, which made no sense to me because, like I said, we were toddlers when our parents met. I decided to confront my parents about it. They were sitting alone in the kitchen, and I asked them how they met. They told the same story, that soon after my dad's divorce, he met my stepmother through a mutual friend. When they were done, I placed one of the pictures on the table and told them that I wanted the truth. I could tell by my dad's face that he understood what I meant. My dad told me that his marriage with my mom was going through a hard time because of my mom's infertility issues. One day, he met my stepmother, and things escalated quickly. When he was ready to leave my mom, she found out that she was pregnant, but so did my stepmother at the same time. He lied to my mom several times so that he could spend time with my stepmother and the twins. One day, he admitted to my mom that he was having an affair and they got divorced. I looked at my stepmother, and she was in tears. They both tried to say sorry, but I just couldn't stay in that house any longer. I'm currently staying at my girlfriend's parents' house. I've talked to George, Liam, and Sarah. It paid me a lot, and George has said that Sarah has cried for me, and that just breaks my heart. I have refused to talk with my parents or to Nicole and Demi. The 3 of them lied to me. Edit. I have come to the conclusion that I should talk with Nicole and Demi. I will send them a message so that we can meet in person and talk about it. I will also try to meet my younger siblings because I have not seen them since last week, just talked to them over the phone, and I miss them. About my parents, I do not know what I will do. I need to talk to them so that I can get at least some closure, but I don't know if I will be able to do it. First update. My sisters knew about our father's affair with their mother. I have seen common questions being asked, so I'll reply to them. Did your mom really have fertility issues? Yes, her family has told me many times that she was deeply affected by it, and that my birth was something that got her over the moon. Did the twins know? I didn't know if they knew. That's why I talked to them. On to the update. After I made my post, I created a group chat with the twins and texted them, and we decided to meet. My girlfriend wanted to come with me, but I told her I would rather go alone. When I arrived, they were already there. They started to try to make small talk, but I just asked them if they knew. They started to tear up and told me that they always knew my dad, but only knew that he was their father when they were 16 because our parents told them. They initially wanted to tell me, but my dad and stepmom pressured them not to, saying that if they told me, it would destroy our family. I asked how things were at home. They told me that George and Liam started to be rude to them and to our parents, while Sarah was asking about me. They asked me if I could forgive them. I told them that I still love them, but that I just need time. They told me they understood. I said I was sorry and that I shouldn't blame them for our dad's mistakes. They told me they should have told me earlier. We hugged and cried together. We said our goodbyes, and then I went home. My girlfriend asked me how I was, and I just broke down. She held me tight and told me not to hold on, and that she was there for me. Words cannot describe how much I love this woman. She has been my rock throughout all of this. I talked with my younger siblings this morning, and we met at a park. I hugged them really tight, especially Sarah. I'm super attached to her and very protective of her. I tried to explain to her in a toddler-friendly way that I was mad at our parents because they did a bad thing and not at her. She asked if I was ever going back home. I told her I didn't know, but I still loved her. I talked to my brothers to see how they were holding on. George and Liam told me they had been having a hard time because they never thought our parents could do something so horrible. They told me they missed me, but understood why I had to leave. We spent the morning together, and after lunch, they went back home. I haven't talked to my parents yet, and I plan to call my maternal grandparents tonight to see if they knew or not. Second update. I talked with my grandparents about my father's affair. Yesterday, I went to visit my maternal grandparents. First, we made the usual small talk, and then I told them I needed to tell them something serious. I laid it all out. The affair, the twins' paternity, everything. To say my grandparents were shocked would be an understatement. My grandma started to cry her heart out, asking herself how my dad could hurt my baby girl like that. My granddad was angrier. He called my dad and stepmother everything he could think of. My grandparents always thought that my parents had divorced because they just didn't work out and because they were young, and despite not being their son-in-law anymore, they maintained a great relationship with my dad. After my grandma calmed down, she asked me how I was doing. I told her that it's been hard, but I am doing better now. She said she still couldn't believe my dad would do something so horrible to my mom. My grandpa said that if my dad is lucky, they will never lay eyes on each other because my grandpa would do something that would put him in jail, if you understand me. We spent the rest of the day catching up and talking about my mom. Overall, it was very intense, but opening up to people who love my mother like I did helped me a bit. Third update. My dad and stepmom have wanted to meet me up and talk since I found out about their affair. I wasn't feeling ready to do it yet. My girlfriend said I should eventually meet them so that at least I can hear their side, and told me she wanted to come with me. Me and my girlfriend, and they, dad and stepmom, decided to meet yesterday in a public space. We arrived before them. I was feeling nervous and was shaking my leg. My girlfriend held my hand and told me not to worry about it because she was there for me. When they arrived, I was looking at the floor and couldn't just look them in the eyes. My dad was trying to ask me things like how was I, and I just asked him to explain everything from the moment he met my mom to the moment he divorced her. My dad told me that he met her at their church, and the moment he laid eyes on her, he fell in love, and soon after they started dating. My dad said my mom was a perfect partner. He said she was kind, loving, and very concerned about him. My dad proposed to her on her 18th birthday, and she cried tears of joy. They went to get married. My dad said that he never saw my mom so happy until the day I was born, but they had problems having kids. They had a few miscarriages, and then my dad started to cheat on my mom with my stepmom because my stepmom could give me what your mom couldn't. My dad started to spend less and less time at home. At this point, he had started crying. He said my mom tried her best and told him every day how much she loved him and how sorry she was she couldn't give him a family. My father was planning on leaving my mom, but she told him she was pregnant. In the same week, my dad found out my stepmother was pregnant as well. My dad initially believed that I was going to be a miscarriage, but it didn't happen. He said that when I was born, my mom couldn't stop looking at me crying and smiling at the same time. My dad said that my mom held his hand and said, "We finally did it, my love." I started to cry a bit. My dad and stepmom tried to comfort me, but I just asked how my mom reacted to my dad's affair and why my dad waited 4 years to divorce her. My dad said that during those 4 years, my mom became overprotective of me. He gave a few examples, like my mom having my crib in their room when I was a baby. Whenever I was crying, she was the one to calm down and didn't let anyone else do it. She didn't let anyone hold me until I was a bit older. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom so that she could spend more time with me. It took my dad and grandparents from both sides to convince her not to, which caused them to have less time alone, and that during those 4 years, my mom's sex drive got lower and she didn't get pregnant again when they had sex. When my dad told my mom about the affair, he laid down everything, including the twins. My mom begged him not to leave her, making promises she would have more sex with him. And if my dad wanted, he could continue to have the affair and have another child, that my mom would treat them well. My dad said his mind was made up. My mom cried and asked him to leave her alone for a while. When my dad got back home, he heard my mom singing my song. I'm a Leo, and my mom always sang Little Lion from Caetano Veloso to me. He went to my room and peeked through the door and saw my mom in my room holding me in her arms while singing. After I fell asleep, my mom started crying softly, probably so that I wouldn't wake up. My dad said she started kissing me in the forehead and saying she loved me over and over again. My dad told me my mom slept with me that night, and the next day, they started to discuss their divorce. My dad said that my mom did her best to not portray him as the bad guy, and when I asked who I was going to live with, my mom said I was going to be living with her 1 week and with my dad the other. My dad tried to guilt trip me. He said that my mom could tell everyone about the affair and could push to have full custody of me, but she understood it wouldn't be healthy for you. I simply asked about the twins. How was their relationship with him before, and why did he tell them? He said that when the twins were born, my mom was already at home, but he was able to visit my stepmom in the hospital. I asked him if he was always the twins' legal father, to which he replied yes. My father said that he would visit the twins and my stepmom at least once a week, and then my stepmom said that they thought the twins should know because they wanted the twins to learn the truth from them. I asked when they planned to tell me, and they didn't say anything. I told my dad that his actions showed that he was nothing more than a selfish a-hole, that he hurt me, the twins, and my mom, all people who he should have loved and respected. I told him we could never have any type of meaningful relationship and to forget about being in my wedding or meeting my kids. The maximum I could do was tolerate him and his wife for the sake of my siblings, mainly my 4-year-old sister. My stepmom tried to intercede. She said, "Son." Before she could continue, my girlfriend replied that I wasn't her son, that she was just my father's lover, and that my mom had died. We soon left. As we were walking home, my girlfriend asked if I was all right, to which I said yes. When we got home, she held my hand and took me to our room. She laid in our bed and buried my face in her chest. She said, "I want you to know how proud I am. You have shown how strong and mature you are, but you don't need to act tough around me. Please, let it all out." I started to cry, as I have never done before. After what seemed like an eternity, I told my girlfriend I wanted to see some of my mom's pictures so that I could calm down. It started all right, but then I got to take 2 pictures, one after another. In the first one, my mom was holding me and looking at me with a big smile. In the other one, she was giving me a big kiss, and I just lost it again. She didn't deserve any of this shit. I wish she could have found someone better than my dad, someone who could have loved and treated her like she deserved. I'm a little better now, but I'm still an emotional mess. My girlfriend was told that she has been worried about my mental state and that she wants me to see a therapist. I told her I agreed, but asked her to do the appointment because I was not capable of doing so. Final update. My dad's side of the family is guilt-tripping me so that I can forgive him. So I am no contact with my dad and my stepmom, dad's affair partner, because long story short, my mom had fertility issues, my dad cheated on her, and my stepmom and mom got pregnant at the same time, which means that my twin stepsisters, Nicole and Demi, are actually my half-sisters. My dad and stepmom have tried to convince Nicole and Demi, as well as my brothers George, 16M, and Liam, 10M, to talk to me, but my siblings have refused. Dad and stepmom have also tried to poison my sister Sarah for F against me, but my siblings didn't allow it, and I had to explain to Sarah why I was mad at her parents. Since then, my dad's family, dad's siblings and parents, and even some family friends have been harassing me and guilt-tripping me to forgive my dad and stepmom, saying things like they were always good parents and they love you. I have told them to stop, but they continue to message me, especially my grandma, saying all this crap about family. Part of me wants to block them, but I'm having a hard time doing it. I don't exactly know what my dad and stepmother have told them, and I really don't want to go out of contact with half my family over my dad's mistakes. For now, I will go low contact with them, and my dad and his wife, I will never contact them.